All right, guys, so just a little bit of crypto watch. Let's have a look. So we were looking at Bitcoin. Just remove that for a moment. And we said, all right, we've got this strong support line that we were watching, which was that heavily emotively charged support line after that bubble burst came hammering down, etc. Okay, and we said, all right, this bear trend looks like it's magnetic. It's going for this line. And there's no stopping it. But the important thing that we need to look at when you draw charts, when you draw support and resistance lines, specifically when you draw formations, is there can be variations of a formation. All right, so this looks very much like this is going to be a flat bottom triangle. There it is. Tested 3 times. Beautiful. 1, 2, and this is on its way for its third. And there's no reason that this doesn't going to happen. In other words, pull back and come down into its state. But what we do have to be careful for is to build singular strategies on one visual of a formation. Have a look. What am I talking about? What I'm talking about is the following. If you look at this, there is a clear support line that can be drawn from, and a very highly tested support line. Tested there, tested there, tested there, tested there, tested it again, and tested again. To now draw yourself a, let's just make this lighter. So let's make these a little bit heavier so we can easier see them. So there's another format that we can draw a triangle. Now, what's the difference? Well, the difference is obviously this is the support line. So now the market came down to test the support line. And true as Bob, it bounced off the support line. Doesn't mean it's going to go for the opposite direction. It can still go down, keep this bear trend intact and hammer. Or this triangle could stay intact. We tested it, tested it, tested it, and go back to the opposite resistance line. So what are we learning here? What are we looking at? Remember, we are seeing support, resistance lines, and formations. That is what the whole analysis of the crypto watch is about. And what you need to understand and see here is, yes, you can be drawing a formation like it was here, flat bottom triangle, but you have to zoom out a little bit, see, is there any other variation that I'm not seeing that's overlaying that potential formation? So if it breaks this support line, this one here, then that triangle, the one that we just draw, is broken. It's out of tack. So then that support line becomes important. But in this case, drawing that support line on this very well formed triangle with multiple tests on its support line would have been a strong indicator at that point, which now has happened. Let's see if there's any other indicators. On the daily, we've got Bollinger piercing the line and then failing the line. If we have done candles already, you've got a bullish engulfing candle, which is a reversal. So yeah, we don't have stochastic divergence. So we need stochastic divergence to be in conjunction with a Bollinger to really be a strong signal. But we do have Bollinger. We do have a candle formation. Let's have a look at our 4-hour. No divergence. Well, we do actually have divergence. We have divergence between that swing there and that swing there. So the low pulled back, made a new low, pulled back. There's divergence on our stochastic. So on our daily we did not have, but in one time frame lower, we have a divergence. So draw the divergence like that. Obviously like that. So now in this time frame, we've got a Bollinger setup, plus we have a stochastic setup that then confirms the bounce of this support line. Can we do anything with this? No. we still need a confirmation formation. So we need a formation that will get us into a long position to trade the bounce for in case this trend down here will change to go. Fantastic. Betty trade view. Just reload my chart, please. There we go. So we need a formation. We need something to get us, to tell us, listen, this is not just a pullback that's going to run down. This is actually a turn of events to go to the resistance line. Remember, divergence, Bollinger, it only tells a story. It says something. What does it say? It says that this movement is slowing down in momentum. Well, that can be one or two things. It's slowing down in momentum because it's going to bounce up, or it's slowing down in momentum to rest and then run straight through. Those are the two things that can happen when you have a divergence. So it's not a clear signal of direction change, like this bear trend, this little bear trend is over, now become bull trend, but it is something that says to us, listen, be cautious about this. Now, we've got divergence, we've got Bollinger, we've got a support line, and a very strong support line. So that's slammed dunk 3 times. So that's an incredibly strong indication of the opposite direction, of a trend reversal. It now needs to be confirmed by a formation. And for that really to happen, that trade, the price needs to trade above that line. Okay? The price needs to come down, because this was a swing going up, so it needs to go knock all these lower lows, needs to knock them out and make a new high. Right? If it knocks through that, then this is pretty much broken, and then we've got a confirmed technical setup that this little bear trend is now over. Because why? Well, all of this technical setups, but the most important thing, it took out the swing high. Okay, that swing high there. If it breaks through that, it takes out that swing high. So then this, technically, this swing has failed. So we'll look at what our 1 hour is doing. For us to get into the trade, in other words, take a position going up, we need a setup. So we're waiting for some sort of flag formation, triangle, etc., to get us into a long position. So there's no room for long position in this case on BTC. So we'll look at Ethereum for now, and I'm done with Bitcoin, with crypto. Was it cracking? Daily chart. So once again, we see that the sentiments are being echoed across the sector. So the same reflected in Bitcoin, the same balance is reflected in Ethereum, of a strong support line, bouncing up. So we see that the sector once again is in sync. That's a good sign. Always a good sign when the sector is in sync and you don't have different assets of different instruments in a sector diverging from one another. But once again, we had this beautiful bear trend. We were in it. We hit this very strong support line, and now we've got this pullback. Let's next time frame would have told us, shown us, and yes, from there to there, we've got divergences, and we don't really have a Bollinger setup because this is closing outside the Bollinger, and this is also closing outside the Bollinger. So a very neutral Bollinger setup, but nevertheless, an oversold scenario on both indicators. No real candle formations that tells us, okay, this is reversible. Once again, this whole little trend needs to break that top blue line. If it breaks that, then this trend is technically over. Needs to crack through that. Okay, let's see what happens on the 1 hour. Pretty much the same picture than Bitcoin. It's almost a duplicate. So what did we have to learn here, guys? We are tracking trends. We are using our technical skills and knowledge with use of Bollinger Bands, stochastic, divergence, and formations. The important thing that I need you to see here today is, yes, we were tracking that formation, this flat bottom triangle, on extremely strong and powerful support line with a lot of emotion tied into it. We said if it hits that support line, there's a lot of eyeballs on that support line. There's a lot of emotion tied up in that support line. There's a lot of fear tied up in that support line. Why do I say fear? Well, you've got people that's in the market that was bleeding here, right? People that got in late, like up here, that's now still in their Bitcoin, still holding their current with the hope that it's going to crack up to the top. All the fundamental and news, everybody's saying, listen, this thing is still going to run up. But now it's still coming down. Then they get that hope when it bounces off. Got that hope again. So now they're becoming fearful because the fear is, what if it breaks through this and go lower? So there's a tremendous amount of fear stacked up in that support line. If it cracks that, you might just potentially see a lot of people's fear give in and cover their losses. So that support line is incredibly important. But like I said, be careful to only stare at a formation one way. Have a look and draw your lines to see, is there not potential other formations that I'm missing? Like in this case, we had a beautiful conversion funnel. Okay, triangle, tested multiple times. So a very strong support line. And then we had divergence, we had stochastic, we had Bollinger that echoed the same message. And now it is bouncing up. We are waiting. We can't trade that yet. There's no way you can trade that yet because you haven't had a setup. You need a setup, formation, etc., that can give you an entry. Okay? Not that this is a strategy. Remember, this is not a strategy. I shouldn't actually talk about setups and entries. But for any person, if we would have used this as a strategy, we would now need a formation. Because we see formations are working very well on the cryptocurrency. So to get an entry point here, this thing needs to tell us, listen, that this bear trend is over. The divergence is telling us, and the Bollinger is telling us, listen, speed is slowing down, momentum is slowing down for this run down. But that could be one of two things. It means the bears could be resting before they continue, or it could mean that the bears have lost the battle and the bulls are going to take over. Why would they potentially take over? Well, we've got an incredibly strong support line. What's so significant about the support line? You've got millions of eyeballs seeing that, drawing that line. So lots of traders will be drawing that line. And lots of traders will be expecting what? That it potentially will bounce off. So if you've got swing traders trading this, they will go like, okay, they will have a lot of entry positions there and see if they can drive the market up to the resistance line, trading this bouncy ball going down here. Okay, and that's it.